Hello, Masterpix family. How are you? I hope you're all doing good. And once again, I am back with the regular review session. I think whatever efforts you are making, posting your pictures in the group, I think it is my duty to at least give you my honest opinion about it so that you keep learning, isn't it? So I've been trying to be more consistent on that front. And today again, I'm going to make an attempt. Okay, so this is review number 9, and I hope it helps your cause. Great, but then today it's going to be a little different, right? Because today, along with me, there is somebody special present here. Okay, and let me have the honor of introducing you my good friend, Mr. Sudesh Salian. Sudesh is a very good friend of mine, a fellow birder and a photographer, right? I mean, basically, you can call him the Birdman of Thane, right? Because he is the one who was instrumental in taking me into birding and bird photography. Okay, and whatever I have learned in the art and science of photography, a lot of contribution has gone from Sudesh. We have been doing photography together for quite some time, right? We travel together for our bird trips. I mean, of late, because of my engagements with you people and Masterpix, I haven't been able to venture out much. But then, hopefully, we should start again. What do you say, Sudesh?
Absolutely, Amol. Absolutely pleasure to be with you and all the team here sitting together. So with this, I'll be actually learning from all of you also, all your insights and all what you have done so far. So I'm really excited to be with Masterpix and Amol here right now.
Great, great. So we have a good resource today. So let's make the best of it, right? So I mean, together we will try and review the pictures. So whatever comes to our mind, we'll be talking it out. So don't feel bad if we talk something not so good about the pictures, because you learn when you get criticized. But then we'll try to make it creative criticism as far as possible, isn't it, Sudesh?
Absolutely. Everything we are going to look at it minutely, give feedback, give suggestions, and this is a learning process. Everybody goes through. So we'll go through it together now.
Great, great. Chaliye. So without any further ado, let me take you to the WhatsApp group. Let me give my views on this. As I can see, the bird is in focus, but as well, the background is in focus. Okay, it is sharp, just like the foreground. So it's having a high depth of field. So, Mr. Nair, what I suggest, you would like to isolate the bird from the background, the water body, the grass behind. You would like to isolate it, and therefore you need to have a shallow depth of field. How do you get a shallow depth of field? Increase the aperture diameter. Otherwise, I feel the exposure is quite correct. No problem on that. Only I feel if you could have isolated the subject by shallow depth of field. Suresh, any take on?
Good. I mean, what Amol you have mentioned is correct. A few other things to take note. One is definitely the subject is in focus, so that is a good thing going for this image. The foreground is also quite prominent. The midground, that is the water, is also quite prominent, and then the background is also very prominent. As Amol mentioned, first thing in bird photography is the subject. If the subject is the bird, it should be the prominent, what do you call, hero of the image. So one tip which I can straight away give is be as much closer to the bird as possible, as much as your gear allows you. So although this is still a quite a very close image, that is number one. Number two is of course the shallow depth of field by increasing the aperture, and therefore that would mean that the viewer who is looking at this image, his eyes focuses on the bird, because that is what your hero is or the subject is. So that's it, Amul.
Yeah, yeah,
A good image, it works, I
when
think.
you said get as close as possible to the bird, but then as we always say, some ethics about bird photography,
Yeah.
not to disturb the bird. So as you rightly mentioned, the gear allows you, okay, not that you should be physically very close to the bird because that might disturb the bird, right? So have a zoom lens, super telephoto, at least for birding
300 mm.
600, 300 and above is recommended. 600 is
Ideal.
the best. Okay, bigger the better in birding, as you all know. Great. Let's move ahead. Right, Sudesh, your take on your favorite bird, the banded bird, is it?
Oh, this is a shrike, Rufus shrike. Wonderful image. I mean, what is going for this image is the subject is what you call right in front of you, as clear as possible. It is also compositionally speaking, this image is very good in the sense that uh, the bird is on the right hand side of the image and looking on that side when the entire space is available to be seen. So compositionally, very good composition. The only thing which is again some of the tips for bird photography is the perch on which the bird is. This is apparently seems to be a wire. So as natural as you can get. Sometimes whatever birds is in front of you, we take an image, that is good. But whatever you have taken, who is the gentleman?
Mr. Nair.
Nair. So Nair, good work. This certainly looks very compelling image. Second point is the background. Um, as far as possible, if at all possible, you should have a background which is, giving some contrast to the bird. Now here the background is obviously sky, so you are looking at it. To check whether you can move your position slightly to the left or the right, so that there is some element of greenery in and around, so that the background is also just as colorful as the bird is.
Right, right. I mean, absolutely, I tend to agree with what Sudesh said, right? So the breathing space has been taken care of, right? Wherever the bird is facing, you are left more space. Only thing, once I zoom, I get to see some grain, so I think it's on high ISO, right? But then I try to understand why in a bright sunny condition you should bump up your ISO. So please check that, and as I mentioned, always post your exit reading so that I can look into the details. Okay, so again, Mr. Nair, Sarah screen.
Yes, absolutely right.
I remember, I mean, my first spotting of this bird was in Bharatpur
Yeah.
when we had gone the last time around, right? Absolutely wonderful birds. They normally move around in couples, right? And it is said that they are very loyal to their couple, and in fact, to an extent that if anybody dies, then the other one also
Yeah.
would die without eating and things like that. And there are stories going around. But coming to the picture, yes, a vertical composition, a tall bird, 5 feet is the normal height of the bird, so vertical composition goes well, right? And yeah, focus is back on. I can see some isolation, so shallow depth of field and high focal length has been used. So all technicalities is well with the photograph. And anything Sudesh would like to mention about this bird?
Uh, Good in terms of the points mentioned by Amol, absolutely bang on. A couple of points that we can look at to create even more compelling on this very same bird is clearly from the image you are quite close, and looks like the image has been taken standing up. So one way of creating more compelling image is to get lower down to the ground level, so that the bird looks from the eyesight of the bird, you are at that angle. So you will try it out next time you see a bird of this size, even if it is not a Sarah screen. you will be able to see, and not only with this angle, with a lower angle you will be able to create background. In this case the background is slightly darker. Can you see, it is greener but it is slightly darker, so you may probably get a lighter background and it will look into an image which is even more compelling than this. But by and large, certainly a image that works for me.
Great. Okay, who is this? DJ. DJ, you know DJ, our friend.
Acha, our DJ.
DJ from Reliance. So, gentlemen, Sudesh is working with GOBP, so DJ is also part of the team. Okay, so we know him from campus. Great. So, DJ, I mean, you've been rocking nowadays a lot of pictures and a lot of good pictures, in fact. Okay, only thing here in this particular picture, you know, you are a old hand at photography, so you have missed out on the main part, which is the head and the face. Okay, and now, I mean, the rear of the bird not necessarily is the best area to photograph, and this is where you have missed. But then I think you have made it good with the other pictures in the album, right? Right. See, which it's a raptor, it's an eagle.
It's a raptor, it's a eagle.
Yeah. Thanks, DJ. Short-toed snake eagle, and in fact, here in this picture, we can see the membrane of the on the eye, right?
Nictitating membrane.
Nictitating membrane, yes, right. So I think whatever was lacking in this picture, where the head was missing, I think the other pictures in the album are making it good. Absolutely wonderful, tack on, and very lucky to have it so close up front. Right. Sudesh, your views?
Yeah, I mean the bird is looking at you, although it is not looking at the camera. So this is another important aspect for all bird photographers. I mean, if there is an eye contact, the camera, the bird looking at the center of the lens, that is the one which is creates that connect with the subject. So here in this case, yes, to a large extent it is there, but even the next frame probably I think DJ would have taken a few frames here. That frame would be looking straight at the lens and you would even get an even better image on this. The background is very beautifully blurred out and therefore the subject stands out. So well done.
Right. Great. And only DJ, the subject is in the center, so as we always say, follow the rule of 1/3. It gives a better composition. Okay. Otherwise, wonderful picture. Right. So see, in the eye.
In the eye.
In
Yeah,
the
here
eye.
it is. This is the one.
Yeah, in the eye. So posing for the camera. Great. Okay. So from birds to people. Okay, but it looks like some unfortunate people out here. Huh? Right? Who is it? J. Kuperkar. Okay, Kuperkar. I think you are from Kolhapur. I mean, you attended the Kolhapur workshop. Great. So, Kuperkar ji, I mean, yes, people photography is a genre of photography which many photographers follow, enjoy, right? So, good that you like people photography, street photography, right? Any take, Sudesh, on Kuperkar's picture here?
Yes, in the sense that see, I mean, people photography, particularly street photography, is a genre which is very, very, I would say, challenging genre. Here, what works for this image is the candid nature of the image. I guess one of the child is looking at the lens, but the other two are, in their own what do you call thing that they are doing. So to that extent, candidness in a people or a street photography is a very, very good attribute to have, which gives the natural aspect of the subject clearly come out. To that extent, this image works. What can be looked at is the area around the image. So there is a bit of clutter on the right hand side. So by changing your position to the right or to the left, you can actually declutter the image. So those are the few things I would say can be looked at from street photography perspective.
One more observation which I have is the angle of view. I mean the perspective. So the children there are
True.
sitting, and then you are
True.
standing and taking it. So the up down angle actually gives the background of the road, which is not very good and compelling. So maybe if you can get down at the eye level. So as I say, always click at the eye level. So get on your knees, get your pant dirty. I mean, without dirtying your
Absolutely.
clothes,
Absolutely.
photography is not going to happen. Right? Great. Shall we? Let's move on. Let's see what else do we have. Coppersmith Babbitt.
Absolutely.
Wonderful picture. I mean, getting one itself is an achievement. Having two in a frame, I think it's a wonderful thing, right? And great, shallow depth of field. The subject are in focus. Only observation as I see. Let me zoom and give you the focus. Okay, the focus is not on the eye. I think
Check the right word.
it is on the body,
Right word. Just check.
right? And then
Enter
right
the
word.
phone.
Again, it's a little soft, but not taking anything away from the effort and the execution. These things can happen on field, right? I feel the focus is on the body, the wings, because they are more sharper than the eyes. Okay, so try and focus on the eyes, and it comes with practice because they are very finicky birds moving around very quick. So without practice, I'm sure it's a little difficult. But wonderful frame, as I said, two birds in one frame, and that too Coppersmith Babbitt. Great. Sudesh?
Yes, I mean, this is at the outset a difficult bird to photograph. So, and it is always in that banyan tree kind of a thing, and very active bird. So, getting them in a frame is a difficult thing. So, focusing then on the bird is also a challenge. Having said that, one way to overcome that challenge is to focus your camera on a particular branch of the tree when these birds are there, and then hope for those birds to come to that branch. This is one way of getting, pre what do you call, planning the image. It works. It is a patient kind of a situation. So otherwise, you may be, wherever the bird is sitting, you may zoom into that bird with your camera, and by the time you click, the bird may be moving. So those kind of things you need to do. Be careful about. Second is the highlight on the bird is the background is very bright. So you may see that there is a lot of contrast in that image. So you need to see in a situation where the background is evenly spread out, so that so that there is the from the subject the eyes of the viewer doesn't go off. So look at the background of the subject, particularly for such kind of photography, bird photography, the highlights. See the bird on the right hand side. There is a lot of white that is the sky coming through. So it takes your eye away from the main subject. So those are the few things, but very challenging, but nevertheless to photograph.
Yes. So the highlights is like actually
Yeah.
a little too harsh. Yeah, your take?
This is, I mean, this image, what do you call? I would say works in many ways to me. There are, of course, a few areas of improvement, but then first of all, thumbs up as far as the shutter speed is concerned. The bird is tack sharp. The freezing of the wings is bang on. I would think it is anywhere in the one thousandth of a second shutter speed. I assume. Nevertheless, it looks sharp from the size at which we are looking at. Two things which can certainly be what do you call looked at such kind of image. One is, of course, the image, the subject is centrally aligned. It is difficult to actually frame a bird by composition basically on the two-thirds kind of a thing. but nevertheless you can post process the image in terms to so that get the composition right. So that is one. Second again is getting down at the level of the bird so that you are able to get that eye connect or rather the level of the bird eye. That is what would create even more compelling image. But it works for me, this image. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just to give you, just to revise on bird photography, the technique that you should deploy, right? You all remember? Okay. You should be on burst mode. Second thing is autofocus continuous. Autofocus area mode should be dynamic. Multiple focus points should be engaged, right? And if possible, I mean, back button focusing is always recommended. Right? So with a combination of all these techniques, you should be able to get a good bird in flight. BIF. I mean, every photographer's dream. BIF.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Bird in flight is like the most exciting part of bird photography.
Remember, we used to go in that nala there and then sit in that dump and take pictures of the kites flying around.
True, true,
Right.
true.
So that is how you practice. Not always you will get exotic birds, but then even the crows and the sparrows and the kites are going to be your subjects, the guinea pig.
Yeah, yeah. True, true.
White-breasted kingfisher. I think too close for comfort because it looks totally out of focus, isn't
Yeah,
it? I think it was too close, and then maybe the minimum focusing distance
yeah.
didn't
True.
happen, and it's out of focus. But then, lucky that you saw it at so close quarters, isn't it?
True, true, true.
See, bird photography is not only about capturing; it is also about enjoying what you see, isn't it?
Absolutely. See the angle in this image now is also the bird is looking away. You know, from a viewer perspective, it looks as if the bird seems to be looking away and disinterested. So it's not compelling. So maybe the images, a couple of bird shots, if you may have taken, you may have found the head of the bird in the right angle. It would have made a even better image.
Right, Lineshwar. Even though nice attempt, keep trying and definitely.
Hornbill.
Hornbill. Okay. Grey hornbill?
Yes.
Yeah.
Indian grey hornbill.
Indian grey hornbill. So is it Mandar Nantri? Yes. Great. So, yeah, maybe you can start, Sudesh.
Yeah. So I mean, a good attempt, I would say. The shutter speed seems to be a issue here because there is what you call motion blur. So the shutter speed should be even higher than what you have done. Of course, it's a function of the overall light in the image. There is a background, black background at the back. Compositionally speaking, it is okay. It would be still better if the bird's head is, at so to say parallel to the camera, so that you are able to actually visualize the entire bird along with its beak. So the moment can be better than what you have done. The shutter speed could have been better than what you have done, given the overall constraints of the exposure triangle. So have a look at that.
Right.
Probably bump up the ISO so that you get a higher shutter speed, so that at least the image is stack sharp in terms of freezing the image.
Wonderful. I mean, this is, I love this image, Shankar. A beautiful silhouette of drongo, and what is that?
Racket tail drongo.
Racket tail drongo, right? I was about to say wire tail drongo, but then there is nothing like wire tail drongo. Absolutely wonderful silhouette, a setting sun, orange red background, and sharp, in focus. I think the metering, you have done wonders with the metering, and wonderful.
Beautiful. This image is absolutely beautiful. The setting sun, I think it is a setting sun rather than the morning sun. It creates that warmth in the image, and the bird seems to be going to its resting place for the evening, and the shutter speed seems to be just about right, and the entire body of the bird is very clearly visible. It is a very compelling image. Good work.
Great, Shankar. Keep posting. I mean, this time for a welcome change, you captured a bird. Always I see you posting tigers. Yeah, Kartikeya, common kingfisher.
This again a extremely compelling image. The subject is, the what you call hero of the image is right in front of you. The head angle of the bird is just about perfect. The focus is on the eye of the bird. All these things seems to be near about perfect. What, however, could be even better is the contrast. Seems to be some overexposure as far as the whites in the image is concerned. So you may want to have a look at your EXIF data to learn from this image. Everything, physicality of the bird, the position of the bird, the angle, the eye contact, the focus, tact, sharp. The exposure is the area of you can look
Yes,
into.
a little tad bit overexposed. I mean, not only not overexposed, I would say, but then a little contrast in Lightroom, maybe a 5 point
Push.
contrast can give you that pop. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Otherwise, it's a wonderful.
One tip for kingfisher photography. Always remember is kingfishers have got a white patch on their body. So exposure typically, if you underexpose the bird, you will always expose the whites of the image very properly, because then the overall image may white should be properly exposed, and then the other part of the bird would be slightly underexposed, but it would be a compelling image. Try it the next time you shoot a kingfisher.
Great. Nice picture, Karthikeyan. Keep posting.
Spider hunter.
Okay, spider hunter.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, yeah.
Um, I mean, near about, I would give this image a 7 on 10 or 8 on 10 on many aspects. Again, the subject is prominent, it is on focus, it is on the best perch that any bird photographer would dream of. A perch which is natural, which is colorful, and a background to crave for. So, a blurred background, green background, and the bird is in focus, nothing like it. Hats off to you. Good work. I'm sure you would have waited for this bird to come at this perch, and you have been rewarded very well.
Yeah,
Excellent.
absolutely. Okay, Manjunath Basappa. Is it Kapu? What is
Yeah,
it?
this is seems to be a cuckoo with a spider catch, not a, I mean a worm catch. Uh, Again, one of a very good image. I would say the tree trunk cutting across, compositionally speaking, many things is going right for this image. The bird is in focus. The bird has got a what do you call a catch in its mouth, a right movement, and then there is green, and then there are flowers to actually bring out the natural beauty of this image. 9 on 10.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the best pictures that we have seen
Absolutely.
today,
Absolutely.
right? Absolutely. I mean, the rule of one third, the leading lines of the trunk, and then the yellow flowers in the
Yes,
foreground,
absolutely.
background, everything working. Manjunath, I mean, one of the best pictures that we have seen
What is
today.
the location of this mention?
Location, I doubt,
Beautiful.
but then he would like to keep it a secret. Now that we are
Beautiful.
raving about this one, he would like to keep it a secret, isn't it? Great. Keep it up, Manjunath. Good going. Really glad to see such wonderful pictures being posted. Amnush Kumar, um, red naped, or is it a white bellied?
Uh, I would do. I looks like you have mentioned white-bellied woodpecker.
White bellied. I think our
White-bellied.
friends have helped us out with the names. I
Yeah, yeah.
think they're paying attention now. I had specifically asked them to post the name of the birds. Right. Yeah. Your take?
Wow, good. Here, I mean, one of the classic challenges of photographing a woodpecker is to photograph it with a very because it is hitting the bark of the tree at a very high, what do you call, pace. So your shutter speed needs to be right. Number one. Number two, the angle of the bird needs to be just about perfect to the camera lens, so that you see that particularly parallel to the camera lens, and that is what has come out well. There seems to be a slight distraction at the bottom of the image in terms of a twig or a branch, which can be done away during post processing, and overall seems to be working. Rule of thirds, probably even if the bird has been to the extreme left, it would have been even better, but just about good.
Great, great. Avnush, nice picture. I think very
One.
sharp, in focus, and a pleasure to watch. Tickles blue, right? We were talking about the best picture till now, and
And
there's a competition, isn't it?
things,
Look at those mushrooms in the foreground, and the moss in the background, and a wonderful bird in the middle, isn't it? Yeah, you were
oh,
saying
I
something.
mean, beautiful old magazine house, if I'm not mistaken. The entire, what do you call, the feel of the image is very pleasant. The bird is in sharp focus, the eye is in sharp focus. Rule of third, the bird is looking in the direction which is vacant, so it is very good compositionally speaking. Background is beautifully blurred off. Plus, there is an element of green on the top left corner of the image, which gives that feel of being in nature. So this image really certainly works for me. Well done.
Right, right. And to top it off, the catchlight in the eye.
That's right in that.
Yes, there's a twinkle in the eye. So
Absolutely.
as I always say, I mean, without catchlight, there is, I mean, the subject seems to be dead. But here you have got the catchlight
Yes.
along with the other elements. Great, great. Amnush, I think one of your best pictures posted till now, right? And surely in competition with the Kapu one, which we just discussed. Okay, Abdul, I think the riot of colors is good, but then too much of shadow, too much of black in the picture, no point of interest, no human element, nothing. So only colors doesn't matter. I mean, even if it's a landscape, there needs to be some life in it. So that is missing uh, compositionally, point of interest. Nothing is there. So unfortunately, nothing is working in this picture except for the orange bright color. Any advice to Abdul on this?
Yeah, see, I'm just assuming what made you take this image. Basically, the beautiful setting, what do you call, sun after the sunset. I'm sure this image is. But it seems to be slightly after a considerable time after sunset. So that just about that string of light is visible. So there is no foreground. You can see the bottom is black and the top is black. So there is no interest that a viewer sees in this image. So that can be. So try to take this image, slightly earlier when the sun has just set or in the process of getting set.
Kantara. You watched the movie Kantara? Yeah, you have seen
Yeah,
it?
watch it.
Watched it. No? I mean, different, something different.
Yes.
Great. Lot of interest in Kantara. I mean, all these deity. What is it called? क्या कहते हैं उसे? Kerala? Is it from Kerala?
Vishnu online. Acha, this is done by Vishnu.
Okay, Vishnu. I think you got a series about the rituals here. Great. But then the one with the fire is what interestingly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So the action happening in the frame, absolutely, you have been able to capture the live action, the sparks flying around, right? So even that is adding to the story, and of course, fire element of fire in the frame, yeah, it always works, right? And same is true in this frame. Any
Yeah,
particular?
I mean, two things. One is the moment is captured well, in the sense that there seems to be a lot of action going on, and the moment is captured to that action very well. when one have to be very careful when you are photographing fire, because there is a clear tendency for overexposure. So that has to be, and then when the subject is moving the fire all around the place, you don't know where the fire is when you are actually clicking the image. So in this case, there is a flame going right across the face of the subject. So those are the things. Probably the shot just after this or before this may have been even more compelling, but colorful image. So that is what works for this image: colorful and action.
Sudesh, really thankful to you for taking time out from your busy schedule and giving your valuable inputs. And let it not be a one-off thing. Let's keep on catching up. I mean, photography is a common interest, and for years together we have been discussing
Yeah.
office. But then photography, I think we can discuss here forward from here, right? And guys, I hope you really loved his inputs. I mean, getting inputs from me is one thing, and then getting it from Sudesh and me together, I think double the impact. I hope. Please type in the chat how did you like this session, whether you would like to continue with this kind of a dual review sessions. Okay, so Sudesh, we have a lot of birding friends who specialize into different, not only birding friends, but then different genre of photography. Somebody expert in macros, somebody expert in landscapes. Okay, so we invite them one by one, and then try and learn from their experience and inputs, right? But then do type in, give me your feedback so that I know that you are watching the videos, you are getting the feedback, improving from it, and then only it will motivate me and take those additional efforts to go ahead and invite my friends. Right. One more thing before we close. Um, I mean, with Sudesh's permission, I would like to say that if we can introduce Sudesh in the group as an expert comment, with, would you be welcome to that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I can add you to the group. So
Yeah,
whatever
sure.
you see,
It's a
whenever you get time, you can comment, give your feedback. And apart from me, Sudesh could also be one of the expert mentors in the group, right? And so many pictures keep on get on updated. So it's really difficult for me alone to go through all those. But with Sudesh, I think we both can do justice to it, right? So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Sudesh, once again.
pleasure.
And the pleasure was all ours, and definitely I will give you my feedback once it comes from my students.
Yeah, sure.
And till next time,
Yeah.
right? Thank you, and keep clicking.